Hey guys, Chris here from Carolot Farm. Winter Storm Fern is here. It is currently actively raining sleet very heavily. We were supposed to get a lot of snow, and as it turns out, we're kind of right there at that in-between stage, and so we're getting a lot more sleet currently. It is accumulating. We probably have a few inches, but it's hard to measure because the sleet is bouncing off of this, that, and everything, and it's not falling and landing very straight. So I don't really know for sure, but I think we have a few inches walking around, and it's now time to start feeding breakfast and putting hay out and checking on water. Everyone seems okay, but this is just the beginning of what's to come. I don't know if you can tell, but Sweetheart has an icicle hanging from her lower chin there, with little billy goat hairs. So I know she's been drinking. That's a good sign. We have a bunch of sleet that's accumulated in Sweetheart's feed tub, so I first need to dump that out before I can drop feed for anybody. Snuggles here is eating out of her green bucket and doing very well. And Sweetheart is next door in her shelter, eating out of the black tub. I will have to keep an eye, though, on the roof here to make sure that it does not get too heavy with all of that sleet and snow accumulation. Both of these mares were very hesitant to come into their feedlots this morning. With the sleet that's falling, everything sounds different, it feels different, and so there's a little reluctancy, but I'm glad they're eating, so now let me grab them hay. We're already having so much accumulation that my gate is dragging, and I anticipate my barn doors will, so I'm gonna have to start scraping snow and sleet away from these entry points. You can see here where the sleet is kind of falling off of the roof. It's definitely accumulating right here at the door and blocking it, so I'm gonna have to do some work there for certain. On a day like today, with a winter storm such as this, we're gonna encounter all kinds of different challenges, I'm sure. It's a little fun. Right now, we still have power. The horses seem to be doing all right, but I'll keep you posted because I want to kind of track this whole storm, our experience, and see just how much accumulation and of what kind we ultimately end up getting, because right now, who knows? Here's a quick look at that pouring down frozen sleet that is currently falling here at the farm. It's about 9:30 in the morning, and so far we have just a few inches. Rather than bust this frozen ice here, I'm going to leave it and come back with hot water to melt it later. The girls currently have one trough, though, that is completely unfrozen with the de-icer, which is fantastic. It's so much nicer in the stalls here. I have just put hay into all three of the corners that I usually put hay in. I have a pile of shavings in the fourth corner. So these two mares have their hay here. I'll come back down later on this morning and pick their stalls. They're not too dirty just yet, but with this weather the way it is, they're gonna start spending a lot of time in here. So I'll probably be picking like morning and night, which is fine. You know, it means they have a nice, dry, clean place to lay down and rest. But yeah, these girls are done for now. Let me go check on the front horses. Luckily, the sleet, again, is rolling off the roof and away from the edge of the fence here, so I can feed the boys right here where it's not too deep. Even though we've covered our hay out here in this front run-in for Lady and the boys with a tarp, it's still covered by sleet, so I'm really glad we covered it. It'll keep it from getting wet. So now I'm gonna put some hay into the run-in for them. And as soon as Lady is finished eating, the boys will get to come back and join her in the run-in. There's really no way to give them shelter while she eats, but they'll be okay. You can see the snow and sleet is accumulating up on their back, which means their insulation barrier is working. They are warm, and that snow and sleet is up on top, and their skin should still be dry at this point. A snow is much, much better than a cold rain. So far, so good. You can see where the snow and sleet has really built up on Lady's back. I even tried brushing it off. For Christmas, I was gifted a blanket, and I think I'm gonna go and get that for her. I was just curious to see, though, would they stay under the shelter and stay dry, or would they venture out and find themselves snow-covered? So now that I have my answer, I'm gonna go find that blanket for Lady here. In winter weather such as this, I am going to be very mindful to make sure my horses have plenty of hay to eat. So in the morning, everyone is going to get 2 flakes in each of their paddocks, and then 2 more at dinner time. I might even come back after dark when I do a check on the water troughs and give everyone just another flake or so to make sure they have plenty to nibble on to stay warm. And we'll have to kind of watch that, because right now, although it's sleeting and snowing, it's cold. but it's not near as cold as it's going to get. Once this snow is over with, temperatures are expected to drop down to like single digits, close to freezing. Well, not freezing, 0. Freezing would be warm. So again, we might have to adjust things, but right now it's 2 flakes in the morning for everyone and 2 flakes at night. I have spread those 2 flakes of hay right there next to the fence line. You can see a difference in the color. So they have plenty of hay spread out. These 3 can share very nicely. And the rest of the hay that you see here, this is just old hay. It's not really horse quality eating hay, and we're using it as a nice warm bedding for the horses to lay in. I will also need to bring a shovel and start scraping around these gates, both my feedlots for the boys and the entry gate. They're already dragging. I'm already having to push the snow and sleet away. So I do want to get a shovel out because this is only going to get greater as the day goes on. So I do have a lot of work to do, but right now everyone's eating. They've had their morning grain, their hay, their water troughs are looking good. The ones with the de-icers, that is. I will need to bring some hot water out though to work on trying to melt and soften the really thick chunks of ice that are in the other troughs, because as it gets colder, that's only going to get harder. So I'm going to come around with really hot water and see if I can't at least kind of soften and melt some of that ice to break it further. I am really happy to report that the tarp wall that we put here on the west end of our run-in here has done a really good job keeping the snow and the sleet out. So they do have a nice, dry, relatively warm place to hang out, which is a wonderful thing. I'm now going to make my way back to the brown barn, turn the girls out, and see if I can't find that blanket for Lady. Trudging through inches of sleet. Not too much snow and sleet on their backs and necks. They've been inside mostly. You can see Sweetheart has a greater collection of icicles and frozen debris now after eating her breakfast. I am seeing that it's a bit slippery right there at the entry point. As Snuggle steps in, she is sliding a little. There's not much I can do about that. I can sweep the sleet, but it's going to keep drifting indoors. I was just watching the girls, and I noticed that Snuggles was very reluctant to go into the stalls with the hay. And as I watched her a little bit longer, I saw her beginning to really slip and slide right in front of the stall there, the far stall. And so I scraped away the sleet and I spread some shavings just right away, hopefully to give her a little more traction, but it is still really slick out here. I had some old hay that I then spread in front of the other stall. But again, it's kind of a band-aid approach because I can't stop the slipperiness, but I can try to do my best to give them a little traction if and where and when I can. So right now, they're both inside, they're both eating, so that's great. But I was concerned because she really, really didn't want to go inside the stall. It was also slick right inside the entry point, so I swept that away and I also spread some shavings there. So I've done what I can for these girls. Now I have my blanket, and let's go see what Lady thinks of it. Heading back out to the front barn, following those footprints. I'm going to preface this next bit by saying I have never tried putting a blanket of any kind on any of my minis in the year I've had them. So hopefully Lady will not care and she'll be very appreciative and she'll stand here like a champ. Let me see. I'm kind of moving it around, letting her sniff it. I just have it draped on her right now. She does not seem to care, as you can see. And I'm going to see about buckling it up. I think that she's going to be a very good one here. The boys have been so patient in their feedlots. I'm going to let them in because I know they want to get out of the sleet and eat some hay with Lady. I was so happy with how well Lady stood for that. She was fantastic. I am noticing though that the blanket is a touch small on her. She is my largest mini, and truth be told, she's a mini cross, I would imagine. She's longer, she's broader, and she's actually filled out really nicely since the summer when I measured her. And so the blanket is a touch snug. It's a little short, but it will absolutely do the trick. I just need to find longer leg straps. I'm really glad that I've had this one blanket to try on Lady. My next steps will be trying it on the other horses to see who it best fits so that I have a better sense of what size in this particular brand to order in the future. These guys are all settled now for a bit. They're happily munching on their hay. They're under the shelter, so that's great. I do still need to go look for some longer leg straps though for my little blanket here. I'm hoping I still have some down in the barn from back when I had big horses. So again, I've got a few more things to do today. I've got some picking to do, some shoveling to do, and again, hopefully a little leg strap repair work. But so far, everyone's doing really well as we, again, continue to be pummeled by this freezing rain and sleet. So far, as of right now, I'm able to keep the center of my trough here that does not have a de-icer still a little unfrozen. It's a little slushy on top. I just added some hot water, but the ice is beginning to really accumulate around the edges, and it's getting so thick that as the temperatures drop over the next few days, I might have to abandon my troughs that do not have heaters because I soon will not just be able to stay on top of the ice. But the ones with the de-icers are still working well. I scooped out the slush here and I put it next door because it will melt and just help to refill the tub. So that's what you see over there. The de-icer is working perfectly well. There was absolutely no ice on top. But this tub here that has the ice accumulating, again, pretty soon here, I will just have to kind of abort trying to defrost this because I'm pretty sure it'll get to be too frozen. I saw Snuggles come over and drink earlier. I have Sweetheart drinking here now. So that's always a really good sign to know that your horses are willing to drink out of the troughs. That's the one with the de-icer. So as long as I know that they are drinking, I can rest assured. The more I think about my two troughs that don't have de-icers, the more I'm thinking after really that first bucket of hot water I carried to Snuggles and Sweetheart, I think I'm going to stop. I think I'm just going to start putting buckets of warm water out here every few hours for Rocky and Shenanigans and Lady. I know Rocky is the one who in past has really, really appreciated warm water. So rather than trying to keep his gray trough from freezing over, which again it's going to be inevitable. It's going to get so cold for so long that there's nothing I can do to keep that from happening. So I'm going to start bringing just warm water now. I'll tie it up here in the run-in out of the snow and the sleet, and they can drink it at will. Their de-icer is still working well though, so they do have a tub of water that's not frozen. So that combined with the warm water I'll be tying in their shelter here, they should be in pretty good shape as well. I'm not gonna lie though, it's getting really cold. My morning feeding chores are probably taking close to 2 hours. My belly is growling. I need breakfast. And I still have picking to do and those leg straps to find. But right now, water is a top priority. So once I get that squared away, I need to get some breakfast before I can do anything else. It might still be a little too warm for them to want to drink, but they know it's here. So I'm sure they will come and finish this in no time. I'll check on it though in a few hours. You know, it's not boiling, but it is still quite warm. So Rocky is drinking now. That's a good sign. He's the one I tend to worry the most about. So I'm very glad to see he got a good drink. Lady's thinking about getting some water. So again, all very good signs. We're finding our way in this cold, cold weather. I'm not sure how accurate it is, but our rain gauge is saying that we have received about 5 inches of sleet. So trudging back and forth from the house and the barns is getting a little harder. But I did find 2 longer leg straps, and so I'm gonna see if I can fashion those onto Lady's blanket. And that way it'll be a little more secure for if and when she lays down. A horse turnout blanket is going to have this leg strap here, and it helps to secure the blanket from shifting when the horse is moving about. So luckily they are they're not permanently attached. They can be replaced. And so I'm gonna see if this longer one I found will do the trick. I just have to say, working with Lady is so nice. She is so quiet. I'm sure done this before. She could care less that I am taking straps off, putting straps on, readjusting things. So she is being a real trooper. The young boys are very interested in what I'm doing. But I'm just so happy with how well Lady is standing for all of this. Because these are horse length leg straps I'm using, I have cinched them up fairly short to the right length, and I put a knot here in the middle, and that will keep them from like readjusting and getting longer as she wears them. So clearly what is going to be the hardest on the blanket, not only for Lady, but for if and when the boys have them, are going to be one another. Shenanigans here wants to chew on everything. No big surprise. I'm trying to deter him, and Lady is as well, but he is very persistent. That was successful, I'm so happy to say. My hands are really cold though. I had to take my gloves off to work on that blanket. But now that Lady is in good shape and these silly little boys are up to no good, I'm gonna say farewell. And I'll check on everybody soon. But I've had breakfast, so I'm feeling better. I need to go get a shower before we perhaps lose power. And then I will keep checking on the horses and I will keep you posted. Thank you so much for joining me today as we begin our winter storm fern journey here in Central Virginia. It's currently sleeting really hard. If it was rain, it would be pouring down rain. And if it was snow, we would be getting like feet of snow. With this sleet, we might end up with only less than a foot of it. However, it's going to be much denser and it will probably take longer to melt after we finally get above freezing in like 7 to 10 days. So it's funny weather here, but stay warm, stay dry, stay safe wherever you are. I hope you and your animals are not experiencing weather that is too terribly bad, and check back soon because we will definitely have updates to share here on the farm. Bye guys.